Vedic philosophy is now widespread throughout the world because of the teachings of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Over the years, college students in the West have learned about the Bhagavad Gita and other spiritual texts translated into English. In Philadelphia, many universities have been visited by Vaishnava devotees presenting the Vedic way of life.
I first saw the devotees on the campus of Temple University here in Philadelphia. I was looking for the truth, and I'd majored in philosophy as an undergraduate, and so now I was studying religion. And I knew there were Hare Krishnas, so that was in the news and the counterculture. So I went up to a devotee. There was one there with a little bunch of pamphlets, and I bought one from him for 50 cents, and I went home and I read it. We went to the Sunday feast. First thing it was a sudden sensation for me of suddenly walking into splendor and wonder. Well, first we chanted, and so everybody was chanting Hare Krishna and packed in with a bunch of student and hippie types. I said I came in the mood of a kind of anthropologist to see what it was about, and I didn't take the devotees seriously. Well, my commitment came very strong when I got a hold of the Upanishad, Prabhupada's translation.
When did you first meet the Hare Krishna devotees?
They're doing kirtan on the campus. I had previously read a book by J.D. Salinger called Franny and Zoe, it talked about a person who was interested in finding out what it meant in the Bible when it said you should pray constantly. And so they said that you had to chant this Jesus prayer. So I started chanting the Jesus prayer, and then just a few days later, I met the devotees and they told me about chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And I said, oh yeah, that's the same thing.
I had already studied Upanishad, and so here was Prabhupada with something I'd already read before, with his commentary, and it had this effect of changing me from being an impersonalist to actually thinking that it might be theologically sound, philosophically sound, that God is a person. The Hare Krishnas had a very sophisticated theology. It was that interesting combination that you don't usually see in religion. It's either sentimentality or it's this kind of aloof academic stuff that has no feeling.
I was amazingly attracted to the kirtan. The philosophy I listened to made sense to me, but I wasn't really drawn into it. But something about the kirtan really shook me inside, and it was a defining moment in my life. And when I approached the devotees afterwards, they invited me to come to the temple here. And as soon as I came in, a devotee grabbed me right away and said, "Please come on in." Made me feel very comfortable.
I first met Srila Prabhupada when he came to Henry Street, Brooklyn, part of New York, in July of 1971. I had joined the temple that March, the previous March. Prabhupada hadn't come to New York for over a year, and so there were many devotees who were waiting to get initiated by him, and I was also fortunate to be involved in that, to be one of those people. and become his disciple.
You are also involved in the preaching at Govinda's restaurant and the city center in Philadelphia.
It was actually there that I went for the first time before I came to the big temple. So we do several outreach programs there on Tuesday night. We have a Sangha, Bhagavad Gita, we chant, and it's just a very introduction to newer people from that area. And especially amongst the yoga crowd and just younger people, they're really attracted to kirtan. So to have a night where we just have kirtan together, distribute prasadam, have a chance to talk, and make them feel comfortable.
Unfortunately, in today's society, there are so many restaurants and fast food outlets that provide animal flesh to eat. They are perpetuating the horrendous slaughtering of innocent animals. It is therefore so important to have restaurants that are dedicated to providing food where there is no violence involved. Govinda's restaurants are such places around the world.
In Philly, there's this very famous thing. Philly's famous for the chicken cheesesteak. So I said, I'll come up with a sandwich. And we began to make the chicken cheesesteak. Of course, it's vegetarian. In Philly, Philly is famous for its chicken cheesesteak, and everyone knows that Govinda's is famous for being vegetarian. There's no meat, fish, eggs, no onions or garlic. When I look at that line and the firemen, one day the firemen, the policemen, and the construction guy, they were the first three in a long line. And then the students, they come because it's palatable.
Yes.
And later they come because there's so many benefits to eating. You become healthier. We also can protect the animals by doing this. Of course, we were still the first ones to do this. And now it's become so popular that so many other restaurants have begun to imitate what we've been doing.
I work outside, I have a job in engineering. So when I get a chance to talk to a devotee on the phone, sometimes I'll bump into a devotee on the street. Right away, that remembrance of Krishna comes back.
Yeah.
And I remember what the goal of life is, to surrender to Krishna. So just being around devotees, it just brings back that remembrance of Krishna, even when I forget.
It's very important for me to live in the association of other devotees. In spiritual life, we go through a process of purification. So especially when it gets a little difficult, to have others around who go through the same process, who are enthused at different times. So their enthusiasm then inspires me to keep on going. Srila Prabhupada especially inspires me through his books. And I love the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it's that philosophy that brought me to this movement. That every time I read it, I become enthused. And always fresh and new.
Yes.
And that is real transcendental knowledge. That it never grows old, it's ever fresh, and it's always invigorating.
You have been running Govinda's in Philadelphia for many years. How did it all start?
For me, it started in 1985. I was a young brahmachari, a celibate monk, living in the ashram here in Philadelphia. And I was asked to come downtown to do a preaching center above the restaurant. So many of our customers are university students, and they have a strong interest in Bhakti Yoga. Over the years, we've just begun to train so many people. On Tuesdays, we teach Bhagavad Gita. We start with a japa meditation, that's chanting on beads. Then we have kirtan. We give out spiritual foodstuffs at the end of that program. We find that people want to hear from us. They want to know what we're doing. They ask us all these different questions about Bhakti Yoga. And so this center here is a center for training.
What inspires you to be with the Hare Krishna devotees?
Oh, that's a good one. The devotees bring the philosophy of Krishna consciousness alive. They help you because the devotees always try to bring you closer and closer to the goal of life, to know, love, and serve Krishna. I met Srila Prabhupada really in his books. As I read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, I began to hear Srila Prabhupada. And that's why I feel I really met him.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.
I asked Prabhupada once, how can we, go through very, very difficult times? And he just simply said, chant 16 rounds a day and follow the 4 regular principles. And I said, that's enough? And he said, that's enough. We will be advancing in spiritual life. Therefore, we will have hope. Things will not seem so bad. And if people are dedicated to doing that, Krishna will make all arrangements. Prabhupada gave us certain facilities for remaining, and most of the time you can arrange to do that. That will keep you together.